Hi, welcome again to another edition of Market Analysis for today, Tuesday, the 24th of 2025. I'm Gio Benacourt, and this is a recording done by Vantage Markets right about an hour prior to the USA session open. Well, as investors woke up today, President Trump has declared an end to the 12-day war in the Middle East, and Israel and Iran had agreed to a ceasefire. Of course, the peace may prove fragile, and the truth got off to a shaky start early today, but for now the conflict looks like one less thing to worry about, and the most surprising part is how calm markets appear to stay through it all. Sure, oil prices added $10 and then shedded again. Stocks went up and down and a little over the past 2 weeks, but the S&P 500 finished yesterday within 2% of the record high reached earlier this year. Now the next flashpoint is the Fed. Trump renewed his call for lower interest rates hours before Fed Chairman Powell evidence session on Capitol Hill. He appears a little closer to getting what he wants. Fed Vice Chair Michelle Bowman said yesterday she could support a July cut. That follows Governor Christopher Waller saying much the same last week. So tariffs are the next worry after that, as the end of the 90-day pause approaches in early July. If anything, the only constant in this extraordinary cycle of news is Trump's capacity to surprise everyone. So with that being said, we're seeing how the NASDAQ is chugging along. Now let's just contract the chart and take a look at where that all-time high sits and check it out. We are closely getting to it. So let's just identify that all-time high. Let's just make sure we do catch that all-time high. So there we go. We have that line that is going to identify for us where is that all-time high and how close are we to hit it. So we actually quite close. It's a high of so far of 22,379, and that high is 22,423. So will this momentum take the asset to push higher and hit that? I am going to assume so. I'm going to speculate so. That will be the case since we have hit it almost hit it, obviously. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my first level of resistance and use that psychological round value first, 22,400, which is right below that all-time high. And then 22,500, if we do happen to hit that all-time high again, and will the market continue its momentum to the upside? If it does, obviously, we could see the market retracing somewhat towards the upper Bollinger Band, and from here, rebound, continue trading, do obviously a pullback, and then how much of a pullback can we see? Perhaps then do come towards our all-time high and do a throwback to our now will be support, and then make another attempt. Could this all happen? Well, that's what we're going to be speculating that it will today, since obviously also Trump is heading to NATO, and this scenario about peace is on strong effect. So as far as support, I'm going to use a pretty wide range. I'm going to use 22,000 now that we have traded above that. We closed actually yesterday above that 22,000 psychological round value. So initially, I'm going to use that level, then the medium of the Bollinger Band. So being bullish, going long, buying the asset. You have another barometer. Keep in mind that there is a correlation between the NASDAQ and crude oil, WTI. Indeed. Right. So as crude oil continues to drop, if it does continue to drop, we'll see a continuation to the move to the upside. So if crude oil happens to do a hit those values, they say, for example, 65 hits and trades below 65, the next psychological support level will be 64. So keep that in mind. And so that movement to the downside on crude oil will propel NASDAQ. So here we have the S&P. Let's going to track the chart and identify that all-time high value. So this one is 661 and this one is 6165. So that's our all-time high. So let's use that. Okay. Let's use that puppy. Identifying that all-time high, and we are close to it. Not as close as the NASDAQ, however, but we are close to it. So let's use, so 6140 would have been a level of resistance, which basically that's where the market retraced from, came towards it and hit it. So 6150 is going to be our first level of resistance. And obviously then the second one would be the all-time high. So therefore, target 6,200. Will that be reached today? I doubt it. But what we're looking to do is obviously hit that number. Not as much. Okay, so I'm going to use basically the swing highs as a first level of support, and then the 20-day moving average as our second one. So, hey, we're there. So the momentum is picking up. RSI is not even close to being overbought, so we still have good momentum to the upside. Then we have the Dow. So where is the Dow? That all-time high. Oh, that we're pretty far from that all-time high. Yeah, that's pretty far. And let's not even identify here. Let's not complicate the chart more than what they already are. So 43,400 is going to be our first level of resistance, and the second one is 43,600. Then we're going to be doing 42,800 as support, and that 20-day moving average at the medium of the Bollinger Bands. So looking for a buy, even though the market, the Dow opened with a tiny gap down, but it's been closed. So momentum to the upside is what is being favored. So here we have that we already saw, that move to the upside, almost 78, and they just tanked. A lot of people that were thinking it was going to continue to move higher perhaps got burned. So the understanding of it obviously would have been that a lot of people were speculating that since the United States got involved, the things will be much higher. But no refinery, no energy resources, no storage facilities were hit. There was only just that nuclear part, or the nuclear facilities were hit. So, and then obviously Iran warning the Americans, hey, by the way, we're gonna send your way 18 or 14 missiles. Be prepared. So it was just like, he said, our knee-jerk reaction to what you did to us, but we're letting you know we're doing it. So really, all right. So that said, 50-day moving average is our first level of support. 68 is going to continue. So let's see how much lower will we trade. Obviously, we traded below 65 today. $64 is going to be our target. See if this is just a pullback to our continuation to the downside, because we do have the 20-day moving average crossing the body of the candle. Then we have Nat Gas. So we have Nat Gas trending lower. It hit up our targets right now. So let's use the 20-day moving average, obviously, and the 50. Now we're going to be looking for 370 as resistance and 380 as a second level of resistance. So looking for 350 Gold most likely is gonna hit 3,300, and let's see if that will hold, because it was basically rejected. Let's use the lower Bollinger Band. It was basically rejected, but now we do have the 50-day moving average above the market, so that's going to be working as a possible level of resistance, a dynamic level of resistance, should I say. So as far as our level of resistance goes, I'm gonna leave those puppies as they are, because it is coming down quite strong. So we need to obviously retrace all of what has gone down. So 3,300 it looks like is going to be a way. It seems to be peace is on the calendar. So the H7, now the uncertainty, the geopolitical uncertainty is off the table. Then we have silver. So I'm going to bring down that level of resistance because it's looking to give back most of its gains. We have the 20-day moving average right below the market, so that's going to act as a level of support, dynamic support. So copper is the one that is saying, okay, well, you guys do what you got to do, but copper is going to be needed anyhow in all of this scenario. It's a metal that is consumed worldwide. So it has fluctuated higher. It has violated our levels of resistance. It has broken our first level of resistance. So therefore, we need to come in and analyze. I'm going to use 5 as extreme. Perhaps by Friday we'll hit them, and perhaps not. Perhaps it will retrace and get back all of its earnings. But let's just use the moving averages as level of support. Initially, you may want to use the psychological values of 480 as a level of support, but being so long, buying copper and selling gold and silver. Bitcoin seems to be making a nice move to the upside. So let's see if it's going to recover and go back up towards 110,000, which is basically where the upper Bollinger Band is sitting at. I'm going to use the lower Bollinger Band for the first level. I'm going to leave the second one at 98,000. So let's see if Bitcoin has finally recovered. I mean, it did drop from 103 to 98,000, 5,000 in one day. So that's how Bitcoin moves by thousands. So the euro, it opened with a small gap down. It has to be closed. So 116 is the psychological value to see if it holds around that level. It's going to be used as a pivot point. I'm going to leave the same levels of support that I have here and leave the same level of resistance here. RSI is creeping up to a entering overbought, but we're still, so that means we still have momentum to the upside. So stay long. So look at the pound, how it strongly rebounded. Wow, the pound is just pounding its way higher. So let's stay with the momentum to the upside. 137, is that the target for the wire? 134, and since the 50-day and the lower Bollinger are intertwined, that'll be a nice level for support if the pound decides to drop. Because it did look, it opened gap down, right? And it did have strong fluctuation to the upside, so it recovered all of that, and then it continued to move higher. RSI is not even close to entering overbought, so let's continue doing that momentum to the upside. So dollar index, it has fluctuated below 98, which I was not giving you some attention to. So it did that. So I'm gonna use 97.30. See if that will be enough of a fluctuation for it to continue, because it did up and gap down. RSI is not entering oversold territory, so we still have trajectory for it to continue to move lower. As it moves lower, we'll see a continuation to the upside on metals, perhaps a recovery on gold, holding gold at around 3,300, metal, silver recovering, and copper obviously will continue, and then obviously the currencies. That's it for me today. Have a great trading day. I'll see you tomorrow.